Hey guys, Coldbrew here. Welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I hope you're all having a great day. Today I wanted to cover something really that has been in my mind in terms of the content that we had in Raid over the years, right? And make a tier list of the different sort of content that we have and which one I think is the top, the best of the best in terms of what it provides the players, both in enjoyment, right? Gameplay enjoyment. You use your champions, you build them specifically to do that sort of content, and in terms of the rewards, right? And I wanted to do this kind of tier list and give like a brainstorm session of what I think could be the reasons that area of the game is not going so well in terms of player enjoyment and how players treat it, but also just in general on how the future of the game might be looking like in the next 1 year, 2 years, or however long Raid has in terms of its lifespan. So let's get started. I'll be covering each and every one of the aspects of the game. Some of them are actually hidden, and one of them is the challenges here. So let's just dive straight into the tier list and have a look at what I've made. Please do not judge. Please do not judge. Boom. There it is. This is my tier list. Not really a fancy tier list, but it is mine. We have the S, A, B, C, and D. I'm gonna give the gradings and explain them as I go on what I consider like an S tier, which is the top tier. You can call it whatever you want, and the D tier, you can call it whatever you want. But let's start the brainstorm session, right? So this has no icon on it. This is the challenges, right? Because I didn't have it. I didn't have it available there, so I just took a screenshot of the blank part because pretty much everybody finishes their challenges in the first couple of months of playing the game. It is unusual that you would leave them longer than that. The challenges do offer some nice rewards when you're starting out, especially like some epic skill books, rare skill books, some refreshes, some arena refreshes as well, and of course I think one sacred shard throughout the whole thing. So coming back into the tier list, I would say that the challenges, which is this one, which is the blank part where it disappears once you finish your challenges, I would say it goes in the C tier. I'm going to explain why C tier, not D tier. C tier because it does give some rewards, but it is a finished product very quickly. I would love to have more challenges featured in Raid where they would go for a little bit longer, available for all of the players for a little bit longer, maybe some challenges that are refreshing every week or every month. It doesn't have to be insane rewards, but something to have in mind. Let's say, okay, I need to go into this part of the campaign and do this because it's a challenge that I have. And even if it gives very little rewards, such as one refresh for arena, that is still very much worth it for players out there who are still trying to beat, trying to grow their Great Hole bonuses, right? So I think challenges could use a little bit of love. I doubt that that will happen, but it is a part of the game that we did spend some time. Most of us players out there, the veterans especially, have it completed for a long time. Can't even remember when I finished it. It must have been a long time ago. But yeah, challenges goes to C. Let's carry on. Not gonna give like a certain turn in terms of what I choose and everything, but I have grouped up a lot of things together, right? And an example of this is like the dungeons, right? The dungeons is this one here, these icons here, which is all of the potion dungeons. Not all of the dungeons, but the potion dungeons. I think they should probably, let's just leave that. I'll think of it, but let's put the normal dungeons. So dragon, spider, ice golem, and fire knight. These dungeons should go probably, I'm gonna say in the A tier. They're not S tier. The reason that they're not S tier is because I still think there's room for improvement, not only for the rewards. I mean, we can all be greedy and say, oh, I want double the rewards for the same amount of energy or stuff like that. That's never gonna happen. But what I want to see is more variety in terms of the teams that are available. I'm pretty much disappointed with how maybe Ice Golem and Fire Knight are in terms of their difficulty and how many champions, specific champions, are needed to beat those. With having 800 champions in the game, 781 or 82, I think. I would like some more variety in terms of the gameplay, right? In terms of the rewards are great. It's gear that we all use. Now we have access to mythical gear, so we can get mythical speed pieces as an example. So the rewards are okay. The energy cost is okay, especially for the hard mode. Comparing it to the normal mode, it's not higher, so that is good. Fingers crossed they never increase it, right? So I'm gonna keep it on the A. It's not S tier. It cannot improve. It's not at the point where it cannot improve, right? The S tier, it's somewhere there. But I'm not gonna put something in S tier and consider it as something that has no more improvement. But I'll explain that when it comes. And let's get into the first S tier just to give you guys an example of what I mean. And that the first S tier that I'll put is the clan boss, right? The clan boss is one of the best places in the game to acquire rewards and also put in your champions to the test, right? There's different gameplay mechanics. You don't have to use a block damage team. You don't have to use an unkillable team. Those are, of course, the easiest ones and can get you to higher keys much quicker compared to the normal killable teams. But the clan boss has a set of rules that you follow. Apply these debuffs, apply these buffs to your team, be tanky, not be tanky, have a lifesteal set, have block buffs, have you know, the block damage buffs on, or the unkillable buffs. Is a lot of different rules that makes it much more interesting than other places in the game, and the rewards are very well worth it. If it's one thing that every player in Raid should be doing every day, even if they kind of quit, are on the edge of quitting, just do your clan boss every day. Maybe if you come back in a month or so, something might have changed for the better in Raid that brings you back and makes you enjoy the game a little bit more again. So clan boss, I would say, is S tier. I would personally love to have higher difficulties that, let's say, you do not use block damage or unkillable anymore, but that is just a dream, all right? Just a personal preference for me. It doesn't mean it has to come into the game. This is as close as you can get to, you know, a perfect content area for Raid Shadow Legends. So I think clan boss kind of deserves the S tier. I also want to hear your opinions, by the way, guys, as I go through each content. If I miss something or you think something should be higher or lower, let me know down below. All right, let's continue. Let's go over Classic Arena. So this is Classic Arena. Do I like Classic Arena? Yes and no. Classic Arena can be very grindy. I know that, especially the Great Hole bonuses. They are a necessary evil. All right, you have to do them if you want to improve your account. That being said, does it become boring? Yes. Are the rewards worth it after you max out your Great Hole? Well, now they've added these rewards, right? They've added the rewards that I can get if I go here to the Great Hole and I open up the chests. These are kind of okay now, but for me personally, the only reason to do Great Hole at this point is for the forge. Unfortunately, I cannot forge items unless I do Classic Arena fights, which is, I wish I didn't have to do them, but it's a necessary evil, again, to do them. What kind of improvements would I want to see? I would love to see a lot more improvements in Classic Arena, like different rules into the fights, things that I wanted to see in other parts of the game in terms of the PvP, but we don't have them. But the Classic Arena, especially in terms of rewards, and the Great Hole bonuses, has a lot of potential to make things easier for players out there. And the biggest example I gave in past videos was for the Classic Arena to have a win streak in terms of the medals that you win. Okay, let's say if you are 2 wins in a row, you get, instead of 4 medals, you get 5. 3 wins in a row, you get 6, and maybe cap it to 8. Make it easier for players who start Raid now to max out the Great Hole. It doesn't hurt me as a veteran player who maxed it out, you know, years ago, spending all that time to know that other players can complete it faster now. I don't mind, honestly, because I want players to feel accomplished quicker in terms of the grindy parts of the game, since we have so many different things to spend our time on within the game right now in Raid. So let's carry on. Let's go to a different thing in terms of the dungeons. Let's have a look at Iron Twins Fortress. Iron Twins Fortress, great idea, bad execution, I'm gonna say. It kind of is the same thing with the Sand Devils Necropolis. It doesn't go to the C tier. Honestly, it is a difficult dungeon. Now that I think of it, actually it could go to the C tier, but I'm gonna keep probably, yeah, it's C tier. I'm gonna keep it in C tier. I'm gonna explain why. The amount of fights that you have to do for it to be worth it and actually see a difference to your account through either the soul stones or the farmed up material that you can get, the amount of battles that you have to do is insane. You have to be refreshing every day. Even if you're not refreshing, it feels like getting 1,000 of these coins here, the mortal soul coins from the Iron Twins. It feels like you're doing nothing to your account. Getting 1 soul stone every day from 6 battles on average, 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 on a Sunday. If you do a refresh as well, you can get up to 4. It feels like you're wasting your resources. So I think it kind of deserves the C tier. The idea is good. You get some rewards and it can be worth it, especially for newer accounts, if you can get maybe 20 of the immortal soul coins and use those to get the first brimstone upgrade for one of your legendary champions that you might have, put them on the clan boss. Maybe that is worth it. I can see that. That's why it doesn't go in the D tier. I could place it on a B now that I think of it, but it's very close. It's very close. There is, again, a lot of room for improvement in there. Not in terms of just giving you more rewards, but maybe not just normal, so the mortal coins. Maybe we could get a little bit more rewards for the amount of energy that we spend. Lower the cost for refreshes from 150 gems. That's kind of a lot, to maybe 50 gems a day. That makes a lot more sense for all players out there. So that is my thoughts for the Iron Twins Fortress. Next up, something very easy, very easy thing to consider. I think Minotaur is almost like a perfect part of the game in terms of what it provides. It's very simple. You get your scrolls for masteries. Is it worth it for you as an endgame player to do the Minotaur? Probably not. Maybe not. Maybe you want to just spend your gems and be done with it. Newer players out there, free to play, consider the Minotaur as a win, right? I 100% know that they consider it as a win. Would they want some kind of improvement to be considered S tier? Yes, I think so. I think a lot of players would want maybe Minotaur 20 so that they can get their scrolls faster. That being said, it's, I think, one of the more the better parts of the game, since the Minotaur, you can actually just farm your masteries, get your champions up, leveled up within the dungeon, and also get a little bit of silver while also saving. Well, it's not quotation marks. You're actually saving gems. So it's about 640 gems instead of the 800 to do Minotaur. So kind of think they did well with the Minotaur and the decision for 800 gems and not higher. So let's say 1,000 gems. So Minotaur is one of the better parts of the game in terms of the content. I know we are bored to run it when we really want the masteries right at that point instantly, but if you want to be saving, you do the Minotaur. So I think it's worth the sacrifice. Potion keeps, I think they can go to the B tier. The reason that I'm giving them the B tier is very, very simple. Although the rewards are worth it, right? You're using it to ascend your champions, make them a little bit stronger, access their skills or passives depending on the champion, and get them to the 6-star, which is also required if you want to awaken them, right? You need the ascensions to also access the banner and the amulet. The keeps here are a necessary evil again, but after a point you can get potions through lots of areas of the game. You don't even need to farm it anymore. You get it from the Great Hall. Not the Great Hall, sorry. the clan boss. I'm thinking multiple things at the same time, guys. So you can get it from the clan boss. You get lots of these. Of course, you'll have to farm them at a point. But certainly having this, the brews, as part of the rewards and the mystery shards as part of the rewards kind of feels bad. For a big part of the runs here, you get these brews or the shards and mixed up within the rewards, and that kind of feels bad for especially the newer players. and getting brews. I believe you can still get brews from stage 20. That feels super bad. I don't even know how that is still considered part of the loot table. And having these still with this rotation also is a little bit disappointing, because it stalls you out when you're trying to do your arbiter missions. Maybe that's on purpose so that players would stay and keep on playing the game for a little bit longer. But me personally, I think it's 2023. They need to upgrade the game a little bit, make it more reasonable in terms of where we are. Let's go into the campaign. Campaign, I'm gonna say it's cool in terms of the challenge. It can give you like a challenge for a good week or so if you're a new player. The Nightmare campaign, a little bit longer. I will give it an A. The reason that I do give it an A is you get good rewards. You get sacred shards, you get lots of brews out of it as rewards. You get some energy, some ancient shards, some gems throughout your journey within the campaign, part of the content for Raid Shadow Legends. But the campaign itself has a big problem. It's where you farm XP, right, to level up your champions. It's a big problem since the hardest part of the game would be where you would be spending most of your time to level up, right, in theory. But Raid had it so that the brutal campaign is the part where you farm. Maybe that's intentional so that newer players don't feel left out and have to farm Nightmare. But I would have loved it if Nightmare was the place to actually be farming XP by, you know, a good difference compared to brutal, and how brutal it is compared to hard, right? The reason that I'm saying this is so that it gives an incentive for players to build out a very strong champion who is a campaign specific farmer and have a goal to do that. Instead, they made it very marginal, the difference. The silver as well, very marginal in terms of difference, but the difficulty difference in campaign from Nightmare to brutal is so much that it's just not worth it. So that's why I want it to be improved a little bit. That's why I give it the A tier, and yeah, it's gonna be below Minotaur for sure. Next part is gonna be the missions. The missions I do like a lot. In terms of the difficulty overall, I think some of the missions are a little bit more difficult, especially for some players trying to get glyphs to finish off and get Ramantu. Some of the missions can be annoying in terms of how difficult they can be, and with, let's say you have to do a potion keep and get ascensions for the one day and then do the affinity the other day, and then the next mission is the keep that was opened yesterday, so you have to wait days in order to finish it or use your gems to open it up. Those are intentional barriers for you to be completing missions quicker. I think missions could get a revamp. I think missions need to get you know, we need to get an addition to missions every now and then. We had Ramantu, I believe 2 years ago, right? Maybe 1.5 years ago at least. So maybe every year if Plarium added at least 60 missions or something, that would be cool. Same thing with challenges, really. Missions would be nice. I don't think it's an A tier. They do give good rewards, but they kind of are something that players see and they feel like it takes forever, especially the crate hole bonuses, which is why I think missions could use maybe a revamp in certain areas. Certain missions could be changed to be made easier for players out there to complete them, and you know, we could get some more and more difficult missions, such as beat, you know, the clan boss, like challenges missions, but like challenges, maybe, I don't know, like beat the clan boss with a team that is not unkillable, beat the clan boss with a team that survives to 100 turns, so you know, that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's carry on, guys. By the way, the reason that I wanted to make this kind of tier list was this one right here, the Doom Tower. I was looking at the Doom Tower. It's finishing very soon. The Doom Tower definitely deserves the S tier. Very quickly, while I'll say this, the S tier for Doom Tower is because this is one of the second best places in the game in terms of rewards. You get a lot of free gear from the Doom Tower bosses when you farm those. You can get the better Savage set through that one as an example. You can get a better Resistance set and so on. There's a lot of challenges in terms of PvE content. You can use your champions in different ways to beat just not even the bosses, just the normal waves, the bosses. You can try over and over to beat them and it doesn't cost you energy. Definitely the Doom Tower is one of the best parts of Raid, and they could have pushed it even more with that, make competitions in it. I know that a lot of players still consider the Doom Tower as a part where they enjoy and they push in terms of the turns, so that they get into the global rankings with the turns taken. So this guy finished it in 1153, this guy finished it in 1400. So that is intentional by them. They actively try to finish it quicker than others, so that they can get on the top of the leaderboards. So there's a lot of room there for the Doom Tower to not be improved, but to add on to it, since it's a place that every player out there, I feel, enjoys like a lot, especially considering everything else in terms of the areas of the game. Live Arena, I'm gonna give it a solid C. All right, the reason that I'm giving it a C is Live Arena has so much potential, but it has been a complete failure in my eyes, and many others for sure. I bet a lot of players out there completely ignore it. If it wasn't for the area bonuses, this would get a D. Really, player. They've launched it about 2 months ago, and they haven't bothered even saying anything about how the state of Live Arena is. It's very similar to how Tag Arena is, which Tag Arena is even worse. Tag Arena goes to the D section. If it wasn't for some of the rewards for Tag Arena, such as also getting Ramantu or some of the missions that we have, you know, complete the missions, right? The Tag Arena, if there was another tier, if I could place another tier, I would put Tag Arena to the lowest one. Again, Tag Arena, I believe, is the least enjoyable part of the game for every player out there. I doubt there is one player who says, oh, I'm doing my Tag Arena battles today and I'm doing double refreshes. I doubt it. All right, let's carry on. The PvP parts, I think I covered, like the classic, live, and tag. We only have 3 places left: Faction Wars, Hydra, and Sand Devil. In terms of Hydra, I'm gonna give it an A. No, I'm gonna give it a B. The reason that I give Hydra a B is because it is not a content area that we feel the effort justifies the reward. I know we get the stone seeding, we get protection, we get Mithrala, we get soulstone. I know, but that is not accessible to all players out there. Hydra is a very difficult part of the game. It justifies, you know, getting 18 champions in some way because of Mithrala, right? But they offer protection gear, they offer stone skin. Those are pretty strictly PvP sets. They didn't offer a PvE set to grind for, which would make things more interesting in other areas of the game, such as, you know, a set that applies maybe a defense down debuff, stuff like that. Something unique that only the set from the Hydra would give for PvE content. That being said, is just the rewards part of it. We could have had not just the small soul stones, but the bigger soul stones as well as part of the rewards for beating Nightmare Hydra. We could have had the RNG be a little bit less, a little bit more like Clan Boss, where there's some sort of mechanics within the Hydra heads, and how RNG, there's so much RNG in terms of the heads and whether you'll get resisted. That 3% from the mischief stealing your buffs can completely destroy a run that you do. I think Hydra has a lot of room for improvement, and of course Raid did promise that they would be adding more and more heads as a different part of the development schedule, but I think Raid has really taken their time, the sweet time with this part. Next up, I think we're gonna do Sand Devil. Sand Devil is in the same kind of story as the Iron Twins. I don't think anybody really loves the Sand Devil other than the challenge maybe of beating it, but other than that, the Sand Devil is really a place where you just spend 1,000 energy to upgrade one item to 6-star ascension, right? That is not worth it in my eyes for any player out there who's not a spender for spending your energy. I know you can slowly spend that energy as a free-to-play to slowly upgrade it. It's very difficult to make a team for 25. The The area bonuses do not affect both Iron Twins and Sand Devil, so it makes it even more difficult for new players out there to reach that 550 to 600 accuracy requirement to land your debuffs. They made Awakenings require the 6-star Awakening for Brimstone, which made it even more difficult for players to kind of cheese their way through both types of the content. So Iron Twins and Sand Devil is where they missed the mark, Playa. So finally, Faction Wars. In terms of content, I want to say Faction Wars is an S tier. I will not say it's difficult. I'm not gonna say out of the 3 here. I would say Faction Wars is the least difficult out of the Doom Tower and the Clan Boss. In terms of the Clan Boss, if there wasn't Deadwood Jedi website and the calculator, if there wasn't so many content creators making videos on it, not myself for sure. There's a lot more smarter people than me on Clan Boss, and you understand what I mean, guys. It's the amount of difficulty in terms of Faction Wars, I think, is the lowest one of the 3, but I feel like it's a completely rewarding part of the game. You don't spend energy, you only spend set amount of keys, you get your glyphs, you actually beat some bosses which are similar between them. There's 4 different bosses, I believe, which rotate in between the different factions, and each faction, if you follow some rules, like if you have a healer, if you've got a control champion with the stun set and all that, it makes things a little bit easier. So that's the tier list that I made, guys, today. I don't think I could change it even more than that. I would love to hear your opinion on any of what I've shown. What do you guys think of the content that we have in the game? Do you think I missed something in terms of content? I don't think I missed anything. The shop is not content, right? We're not trying to complete anything in the shop, like be a completionist here. I don't think the Guardian Ring, finishing up the Faction Guardians, is content in the game. That's just part of playing, really. The Altar of Souls, again, is part of the the Iron Twins. So I think that's all. The tournaments and events, I could cover it in a completely different video. I think so. Maybe I'll have that in the future in terms of the ranking between events, the different kinds of events we have, like the Summon Rush, the artifact enhancements, and all that, and all the events we had in the past and the ones we'll have in the future, including the turn count tournament. So yeah, that will be, I guess, a different video because this one is already too long. All right, thank you all for watching, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already and have been watching for the past 25 minutes or so. Thank you all, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.